Welcome back in. WKYT's Kentucky Newsmakers. After that harsh winter, a lot of folks are looking for homes, while many others have decided that now might be a good time to sell. What are the real estate trends in the bluegrass right now? Approaching the halfway point, we understand that 2015 is off to a strong start. Larry Freels is serving as president of the Lexington Bluegrass Association of Realtors and a longtime professional realtor himself. Welcome. It's good to see you, and thanks for coming.
Bill, thank you. It's great to be back.
Give us some numbers here. How are sales going as we're about halfway into 2015?
Bill, it's been a phenomenal year start to 2015. Sales are up, prices are up, days on market are continuing to go down, which means the sellers are getting their prices. Speaking of that, sellers are getting about 96% of their list to sale price, which is a tight market. We're experiencing many times of multiple offer situations, which creates sort of a bidding war on the hot properties. So it really is encouraging.
So there's some drama involved in those sales,
There can
right?
be, certainly. There certainly can be. Which drives home the importance of the buyer to have every bit of their operation, every bit of their information ready to go at the loan of their loan place of their choosing. The stronger the buyer can be, the better the offer is, the more chances that their offer will be accepted. Sometimes even not the highest offer, but all the terms being better.
Well, are you noticing any trends right now in terms of price points or types of homes that are moving the fastest?
Not necessarily. All price ranges are moving. Days on market are down in all of our price ranges. In Fayette County specifically, probably the $200,000 to $300,000 range is a really hot market. That's that move-up market, if you will, for families who have been in the starter home, and interest rates are at an all-time low still.
Are people able to qualify for those loans? I mean, after the crash of 2008, there were a lot of strong reforms that followed. Are people finding it any easier now to get credit than they were, say, this time last year?
I'd like to think they are. They probably need to start that process further downstream. In other words, if they're 3 to 6 months out, get their credit pulled by a loan expert 9 to 12 months out. If there's something on that they need to work on, they have time to do that, get their information to them. It seems to have eased a little bit. So there's money out there. Credit is as important as ever.
If you're a buyer and you start thinking, that you have your idea on 6 months from now, buying a home, or some months from now, what kind of strategy should you employ to be sure that your ducks are in a row?
First and foremost, contact a professional realtor, ideally a LBAR member. They can guide them. They can help them with selection to loan people possibly. They can start the process by letting them get listings emailed, for example. As soon as that listing hits the market, they can set them up on a program to get that listing instantly. And they can choose the neighborhood, the price point, the amenities, bedrooms, baths, etc. That starts the process, even if they're in a lease still or looking to sell their current house.
What if you find a home, there's that one little thing that you'd like to have changed? Is that often something that can be negotiated with the seller? You want hardwood, or you want granite countertops or whatever, and those aren't there to begin with. Might they sometimes take from the asking price and agree to put those in, or are we in such a hot market that that's not a strong option right now?
Typically, the resale market, that's not as not feasible. On the builders, if a builder has a spec home, for example, they're more open to those questions and suggestions with a good offer. Resale-wise, there are other things that are negotiable, certainly. Play sets, things in the house, fixtures, blinds, everything's negotiable.
Typically, what adds and what takes from the value of a home? There's always a question about a pool. Does it help or hurt?
In our market, we're a moderate market. We're not a southern hot market. A pool can limit your buyers somewhat, but a well-done pool can be such an amazing look and feel for the outdoor living, which is another trend we're seeing. Outdoor living, outdoor kitchens, seating areas, fire pit areas, and a pool kind of goes along with that perfectly. As a rule, the pools don't add a whole bunch and don't take a lot away.
How often are you about to make a sale and then somebody learns they can't put up a fence, or that there's some kind of restriction that is going to be difficult for them?
It does happen. There again, the realtor that they're working with hopefully is providing them with every single available piece of information to that property to enable them to make a better offer.
Is there a back to town or a back to the country movement of any sort that you can detect right now?
Some of both. There's always buyers that want that piece of paradise, that want a couple of acres in the rural area. They can raise chickens, horses, cows, things like that. But we are seeing some trends toward the urban areas, the downtown areas.
And I do understand that the townhouses are the one area of the market that's off a little bit.
Statistically, it's down a very slight amount. It's a low single-digit percentage. But keep in mind that townhouses and condos are a very small part of our entire market. So a small number can affect that in a way that looks maybe a little more apparent than it really is.
Something going on at one complex or another.
Exactly,
all right.
Exactly so.
Larry Freels is with us from the Lexington Bluegrass Association of Realtors, and we're back in a moment. We'll talk just a little bit about what sellers should do if they're getting ready to sell. Coming up on WKYT. Welcome back in. It's Kentucky Newsmakers on WKYT, and we're glad you're with us today. And we're continuing to visit right now with Larry Freels, who is president of the Lexington Bluegrass Association of Realtors. All right, we talked about buyers. What if you're a seller? What recommendations would you make before somebody puts their home on the market?
Great question, Bill. You know, aside from the most obvious things, mulch, landscaping, nice clean new door, the house uncluttered, all of that stuff, there's a couple things that we might recommend, and one's being to get an appraisal and an inspection. The appraisal will verify that their price range is where they think they need to be. And that's important in areas that don't have a lot of recent comps, and they do exist. The inspection may bring to light things that they were not even aware of, that they could take care of prior to that buyer getting in the house and then wanting it taken care of after the contract's accepted, possibly.
How important is it that a realtor work with a seller and that they come up with a reasonable asking price? Is that sometimes an issue?
There is no higher importance thing as far as the real estate agent and the seller. Well-priced homes, accurately priced homes will sell faster. If you overprice your home, you're going to sit, you're going to price yourself out of the market, because the buyers are working with realtors. They're going to see that you're too high for the market. Sometimes you won't even generate that offer.
Does the fact that this school redistricting in Fayette County is finally done after a year of all kinds of meetings and discussions and so forth, will that likely have a stabilizing effect on the market now?
We certainly hope so. We think that there's been some people with children school age that have been on the fence, so to speak, and with the program hopefully being accepted, approved, and now they can know where their Johnny is going to go to school, they will make those decisions. I see an uptick there with the school age children home buyers.
What do women typically ask first about a home? What do they typically want to see? And then the same for men.
Women?
Is there a difference?
There could be. The women gravitate toward the kitchen, the bathrooms. The men like that multi-purpose area, the media area if there's one, the man cave, if you will, the garage. The garage can't be big enough.
How strong is rental in Lexington right now, and do you see that as an ongoing trend? It is.
Rental demand is higher than ever. We've just released a public opinion research poll, and in Lexington, we're showing about 65% homeowners, meaning the remainder rentals. Nationally, rents are continuing to increase, and the studies are showing that it's cheaper to actually own a home than rent. It's been a good couple of years for the landlord investors.
Anything else in that poll that we should know about?
Well, we feel that about 85% put an emphasis on the value of owning a home. We completely agree with that. But there's some good stuff. We just released it.
All right. Larry Freels, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it. It's LBAR.com is your website, right?
It is.
And we appreciate, and you serve Lexington, the Bluegrass region, and then also now Southeastern
We
Kentucky.
do. We're 2,500 members strong, and there's never been a better time to be in real estate. And if somebody's interested in a career in real estate, contact LBAR.
Is it a good career?
It's a wonderful career. It's a career that there is no income cap, Bill.
Good deal, right? Thanks for coming in today. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Bill.
And we hope you'll stay with us here on WKYT. We appreciate you being with us for this edition of Kentucky Newsmakers. Have a good week ahead.